I mean, let's be honest. I think that most of us use fantasy as a safe place when it's really like a prison. It's keeping you stuck, and more importantly, it's keeping you away from the goodness that God has for you in your real life. I just wanted to start off this video by first saying how amazing and good God is. And I'm so thankful for all the love that I'm getting on my video about me breaking free from fantasy. And I just want to emphasize on the fact that we are so not alone. Like, not only are we not alone in our struggles because we have God to be with us, and where we're weak, He is strong, but we also have each other. A lot of people in the comments of the last video, they were like, oh, I thought I was the only person struggling with this. I didn't know so many people were doing this. Thank you for making this video and for being vulnerable and all these things. And I'm just saying, like, honestly, guys, it was an honor, like, to do that. And I'm so thankful that God brought all you guys here to my channel. It just really warmed my heart to see everybody relating to each other and relating to the things that I said in the video. And we are not alone, and we were meant to be here to help each other and to lift each other up and encourage each other that not only am I going through the same thing that you're going through, but we can both encourage each other on our journey to breaking free from this thing that is not talked about enough. And yeah, this video is basically just a little follow-up because yes, it's important to realize that, hey, stop fantasizing, stop doing this, but I really wanted to make a follow-up video about just more of the practical things that you could do. But the first question I wanted to pose to you guys is, what are you hiding from? What are you protecting yourself from? Because, like I said, when we fantasize, it's almost like we think we're going to this safe place, but it's really a prison, and it's keeping us away from the goodness that God has for us in our real lives. And so what are you hiding from? Why do you fantasize, and why is that your go-to? Like, what triggers you into going into fantasize? Are you hiding from... You're hiding, you're trying to escape from your real life, but what are you scared of? And I know for me personally, it's kind of mostly my fantasy or my fantasizing comes from a place of fear, of being scared to do certain things in my real life because I'll like be disappointed in myself. I'll not live up to expectations. I like staying in my comfort zone and all these things. Just scared to step out of that. So it's better that I just stay in my head and just imagine it there, because nothing happens there. It's safe there, you know, when it's really doing myself way more harm than good. It's actually not doing any good, because we all say when we want to accomplish things, if we don't do anything about it, it's just like they say, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So all these things you want. And even when it comes to romantic relationships, if you're not putting in effort to take care of yourself, to love God, love yourself, how are you even going to love another person? You're too busy just fantasizing about it and wishing about it, and you're not actually doing anything about it. And it could even go, I'm no therapist or anything, but this could go like really deep, and you could be scared of like being vulnerable with someone. You could be scared of having relationships while simultaneously wanting to be in a romantic relationship. Trust me, it's a real thing. Like it's actually a real thing. So you're saying like, oh, it's safer if I just imagine it than to actually be in an actual relationship, because sometimes when that is presented to us in real life, we don't actually want it, and you're like, nah, I'd rather stay in my little bubble because it's safe in here. Because being in real relationships and having real relationships with people, it's risky. People are people. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that they're not, because people are people and people will hurt you. In a way, fantasy can be a way of us trying to protect ourselves, and it could also be, like I said, just a hiding place, just a safe place. Because because you're disappointed with the way that your life is. So I just wanted to start off with this by just saying, why do you fantasize? And after you do that, we have to recognize that what we're doing is wrong. The route that you're taking to escape from your life is not good, and that you think fantasizing is a safe place, and we need to recognize it as a prison. It's keeping you locked up, it's keeping you in a false reality, and it's keeping you away from real life with real people and real relationships, which is what God wants for you. He doesn't want you to be in your room fantasizing about having a relationship, having a good life, when He wants a good life for you. There's a verse I can't remember right now, but when Jesus said, I came to give you life abundantly, not fantasy. At the end of the day, fantasy isn't just a bad habit. It's a form of avoidance. Like I said, you're avoiding something. You're hiding from something. You're trying to protect yourself from something. You're literally avoiding your real life. And some of the things, when I was looking deeper into this topic, some of the things that popped up that you could be avoiding are fear of disappointment, control issues, avoiding discomfort, which is probably my thing, and just idolizing just like this perfect love life, this perfect that things are supposed to be so good and so la 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 all the time, and that is just truly not reality of this world. And that's been a big reality check for me personally. It's just like realizing the world that we live in and knowing that things are never going to be all flowers, good and roses. No matter how great your relationship is with God, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much people, something is always going to be going on, whether with you personally or with somebody who you care about personally or with somebody in another country or with whatever, and it's going to slip and affect you some way, somehow. And that's just how the world that we live in works. And some of us don't like that, and we just want to go and we watch these movies and we read these books and we see these perfect lives and these people and we get the happy ending, and we want that, and it's just not real. It's that simple. It's just not real. And like I was saying, for me personally, it was about avoiding discomfort, waiting seasons, being lonely, being bored. Those are things that are true for me in my real life. So I like to avoid those things, and I don't want to admit that my life can be boring, that I can get lonely, and that I am in a waiting season right now. So in order to cope with that, I would go into fantasy and fantasize about the life that I wanted, fantasize about this and this and this. And that's actually really deep now that I think about it. See, it's really good to understand the why behind why you're doing what you're doing. You can't like get help if you don't know what you need help with. Yeah, we all need help stop fantasizing, but like we got to get to the root of this plant, you know? And I just watched this video. This is very random. I'm sorry, but I just watched this video, and I think it was a Deborah B video, but no, it was Kyla Jackson video. Anyway, it doesn't matter who it was, but she was talking about how God loves to plant seeds, and Satan wants to be like God, so he also likes to plant seeds as well. So this fantasizing thing has been rooted so deep into my life that when I tried to root it out just by the flower, I could not just get it out. Okay, I want to stop fantasizing. Oh, let's just trying to root the flower. We have to get to the root, because what Satan does is he plants seeds. He plants seeds, because we all know God plants seeds. Satan wants to be like God, so he likes to plant seeds as well. And I don't like being bored. I don't like that's the seed, and I watered it with fantasizing and pour it on it, and now there's this ugly plant in my garden, and I'm like, where did this come from? And I'm just trying to pull it out, but I just gotta get to the root of it. You digging and digging. That's like a really cool analogy. It just came to my head just now, so I hope you guys understand what I just said. But the point is, what are you avoiding? What are you protecting yourself from? What are you hiding from? So we have to have a mindset shift after, and that's wanting to change. I'm a big fan of nothing changes if nothing changes, because you're never gonna stop fantasizing if you don't make the choice to stop fantasizing. A lot of stuff in this life is literally our choice. And I'm gonna admit there's a lot of stuff that's not, but there's a lot of stuff that is our choice. And sometimes we just have to have that mindset of saying, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. This is bad for me. This is not going to lead me down a good life. This is not the life God wants for me. I need to stop doing this. And sometimes you just sit and say, hey, this is me saying I'm going to make a decision, put in effort to not fantasize. We have to stop waiting for change. And a major issue we have as people is we kind of wait for our desires to go away instead of actively trying to break free from it. It's just like you can sit here and say you want to stop fantasizing, and okay, I want to stop fantasizing now. I'm going to pray about it. That's it. And you leave it. You don't actively try to do it. You don't actively try to find things to do instead. You don't fight against it hard enough. You just sit there and you just wait for it to go away. And I just feel like as people, we take that lazy route because it's less work, and we don't want to go and do the work and get to the root and find the meaning behind this sin, because the heart, as much as we don't like to admit it, it's their heart. It's what's in your heart, and it's ugly. I'll admit, I'll be the first to say it. I was just telling someone, talking to my mentor, Katie, and I was just telling her how I feel like God has been exposing me a lot in my life, and I really don't like it. Like, he's just been getting to the root of all these things that I've been struggling with, these sins. He's revealed all these sins to me in my life, and the bad habits that I have in my life. But lately, he's been really showing me the root, and it's been really ugly. I'm not gonna lie, it's been really ugly, because you don't want to see that, especially after you come to Christ. Oh, I'm clean, I'm this, I don't do that no more. But it keeps popping up back into your life, and it's because you're just waiting for it to go away, and you're not getting to the root of it and seeing, what do I really need to do to stop doing this thing, if you don't know why you're doing this thing. And that's what we need to do when it comes to fantasizing, and with any sin that you're struggling with, anything that's keeping you away from the goodness of God and making you I don't know what word I was looking for, then I was just kind of because fantasizing makes God's goodness look bland, and he makes it look oh, real life is not good. This life God's given you is not good enough. And I just want to challenge you. We love doing all these 30-day challenges and all these little things. So what if for the next 30 days you actively stop waiting for change, and you stepped into reality, and you lived your life like it was enough, because it is enough. And what I mean by that is just being grateful, looking right in front of you, looking around, and just being grateful for the things you have around you. Creating a habit of being grateful for all the things that you have around you, being grateful for this life, and being expectant and excited about that future and the dreams that God has given you. Of course, you should always be excited and expectant, but you should always be grateful that you're in this waiting season, that you're in this process. Yeah, you may be somewhere you don't like. You may be tired of waiting, but God is working. He's working. What if we lived our life like it was enough? Because I feel like we always acting like what I have right now is not enough, but God always gives you enough for today. He always gives you enough for today. And I always pray to God to give me what I need for today. And he always does. He always comes through. And we have, and it's okay. Whatever we prayed, that thing, that dream, whatever it is, we should be expectant, and we should be excited for it. And we should know that God is going to come through with that, answering that prayer, whether it's what we want or something better, because that's how God answers prayers. Find things that you actually do like about your life, instead of focusing on what you don't have. But what do you have though? Like, what do you have? I know you have God because you came to this video. That means that God sees you. He hears you. That in itself is enough to freaking just just start praising Him. That in itself is enough. So, like, Jesus is enough. Jesus dying on the cross, that's enough. That's all you need. That's it. Once you get that mindset, and then once you're expected and excited about these dreams and all these things, you're not worried about how God's going to answer your prayer, because you already know He is, and you know that God is with you, and that everything that He's doing in your life is going to work out for good because you love God. So focus on that. You have to focus on God, and we get so crazy and we focus on all these other things when all we need to do is focus on what we know and focus on what is true. And that is things like Romans 8:28, in knowing that it's true and God has promised that all things will work together for good for those who love God. He said that. He promised that. God cannot lie. God can be anything but good. So that is true, and that is a fact. We should focus on that instead of focusing on what we don't have. Focus on what God has given you and be excited and expected for what He will do. And just the last things I wanted to talk about is just some super practical things. And the first thing is just to fast from fast from whatever your fantasy trigger is. Whatever triggers you into going into fantasy and wanting to fantasize, fast from that. Like, for me personally, it was always romance books and romance movies, because I would always, like, back when I was single, it would always just make me want a boyfriend, and that made me want this life and made me want this and just like dream about it and all this stuff. So for me personally, I had to get rid of all those romance books. If you go deep into my channel, you'll see, like, it was like when I moved out last year, actually, I was like, why do I still have all these romance books? Why do I still have them? And it's just like, even when the fact that I'm in a relationship, it's just like there was still that temptation there to go and read those romance books and then put the expectation from those romance books onto my boyfriend. And I was not having that. So I was like, I was like, these books, they gotta go. So I got rid of all those romance books. I don't watch romance movies anymore. Really, really, really hard, because those are my go-to. Anything with romance in it, that was my go-to. And now I can't do that, because it's a decision I chose to make, and I know what it does to me and it does to my thoughts in my head. So I just choose not to even open the box. You know, people are like, oh, don't eat the cake. Don't eat the cake. Or why even get the cake? Why even open the box of cake? You know, why even put the cake in front of you? Like, it's just like, let's flee from sin. Let's not tempt ourselves. So if you have to get rid of all your romance books like I did, do it. Whatever it is for you, just cut it off, and cut it. You got to cut it off hard, cold. And it's going to be like getting rid of addiction. You're going to start itching, maybe, probably. That's dramatic. But but seriously, like, just, you have to cut it just cold turkey. Like, that's what I had to do. The second thing is to start embracing real life and the discomfort of it. James told us in the book of James that we are going to suffer in this world. He didn't say if you suffer. He said when you suffer. And I talked about this also in another video. And it's just like, when you get that mindset, like, hey, problems are going to come. Bad things are going to happen. This is the world we live in, this world, fallen world full of sin. The bad things are going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, to expect bad things to happen in your life. But I'm saying for you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But you can expect for God to be with you in whatever this world throws at us. You can expect for God to show up for you and expect for God to be with you and for God to use whatever happened for good. And we can also, like, focus on what God is trying to teach us in that discomfort, in the suffering we're going through, in the things we don't like, and doing the things we don't like. We can also focus on that. Like, what is God trying to teach me right now? And I already talked about gratitude. So like I talked about gratitude way before I wanted to talk about gratitude, but gratitude. Just being thankful for where you are and for the things God has done. And instead of focusing on where you think you lack, because at the end of the day, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. And second of all, what do you have though? What has the Lord given you in your life right now that is good besides him himself? The Lord has already given us himself. Like he's given us Jesus. So that's already a reason, like I said, to shout and celebrate. So but focus on creating joy in your life. Focus on the joy in your life. And even in the times where you're doing something you don't enjoy, or you have to work somewhere you don't want to work, whatever it is, find joy. Ask for little moments of joy. Ask for God to show you the little moments of joy, show you the good. There's nothing wrong with asking for that, because we all struggle. There's a lot going on in the world, and it's hard to see the good instead of the bad that's going on. So, but yeah, and the last one, which is my favorite one, which is to ask for God to reveal your purpose and start pursuing it. Because a lot of us escape into fantasies because we feel like we're not where we're meant to be yet. So my life hasn't started yet. My life will start when I get this. My life will start when I get a relationship. My life will start when I get married. My life will start when I get this job. But your life has already started. Your life is going on right now. So ask for God to reveal your purpose. Because at the end of the day, our biggest purpose is to make disciples and to go out and to show people Jesus and to tell people about Jesus and to love like Jesus. That is our ultimate purpose. And we can do that anywhere, any place, any time in our life, any season. So ask God to reveal that purpose, and how can you do that right where you are right now. And if God does have something, a dream job you want to do, a dream place you want to go, a dream thing you want to do, ask him to help you pursue it. Like me right now, I want to be a content creator. I want to be a faith-based content creator. Here I am pursuing it, no matter how hard life is. My 9 to 5, so draining. I hate it. It's fine though. Like, I was talking to my mentor, she was like, it's okay that you don't like your job. It's okay. It's a temporary thing. You prayed to become a content creator. You prayed for your channel to be monetized and all these things. And we can expect for God to answer you. We don't have to worry about the how. We don't have to worry about the when. But I can expect God to answer my prayer. And I know God is using the job I have right now to provide for me. And I can be thankful for that. Because I have a whole story, a whole testimony about how I quit my job and how the job I have now is actually a miracle, literally. So I'll link that video somewhere up here. But yeah, focus on what God is calling you to do right now in your life right now. Guys, live your life. As someone who has come so far out of the fantasy, like, of course I'm not perfect, and of course there's a temptation to do it all the time, but living this life and accepting this life for what it is and living it with Jesus and trusting in God every step along the way. There's you see that like big deep breath I just took, like I breathed out, like that is peace. Jesus gives that. Jesus brings that. That's what Jesus came to do. And I really, really, really hope that through all my yapping, something resonated with you, and that the Lord uses me to help you break free from fantasy. God didn't create you to live in your head. He created you to experience real joy and real purpose and real love. You have a real purpose, and real love is available to you right now in Jesus. And God's plans are good. They're not just good in theory. That's not just something we say, that God has good plans. God does have good plans. They're good plans in reality. Like, they're real and they're good. And I am a living, breathing testimony to that. I'll tell you right now, God's plans are good. But yeah, like I said, I really hope this video helped you guys. And I really, really want to thank you all for spending time with me and listening to me. Thank you so much for watching, and like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Look what you created. Everything surrounding me, you made it. Everything's so beautiful the way it flows together. I think I hear birds singing your praises. Amen. I swear you make me feel like I'm your favorite. Oh,